Hello there and a very warm welcome to Donington Park for coverage of the 750 Motor Club's Championship Finals Day, taking place on the full 2.5 mile Grand Prix circuit. The likes of Paul Smith, Matt Rosier, Robin Gearing, Patrick Fletcher and Ian Alley have already secured their crowns, but in this final meeting of the season we will see 7 more titles decided. Sports cars and saloons, MX-5s and M3s all feature in the 12 races that we have coming up for you today. So we start with the Protec Shocks Sport Specials Championship, classes A and B already decided in favour of David Roberts and Martin Buckland, but Class C and the overall title still up for grabs. Robert Johnston starts 5th, he needs to finish 2nd or better. Lights out and away we go. A good start by the 2 Eclipses from the front row of the grid, but there you can see the orange car of Rob Johnston just moving to the right of shot now, trying to go around the outside of Clive Hudson and up into 2nd position behind Paul Boyd as they go into Redgate Corner for the first time in this 15-minute plus 1 lap race. But it looks like there's a mistake there from Johnston as they go through Hollywood, and he's lost quite a few places. Yes, he's down to about 6th or 7th place I think, and that could be absolutely crucial because they're in 3rd position in his MK Indy is Matthew Booth, and he's the man that will win the championship unless Johnston can fight his way back through to finish in one of the top 2 positions. Number 4 there, Anton Landon, he was the Class A Championship winner for last season. He switched to Class C for this year. Here come the leaders then, down into the Melbourne hairpin, and it's Paul Boyd leading, Clive Hudson 2nd, Matthew Booth in 3rd position. A bit of a gap back then to the rest of the field. You can see the circuit still damp. We had a lot of rain here yesterday and drama further back. That involves the number 77 car, which is Stuart Much in his MEV, and also getting caught up in that is Paul Cooper, number 32, the driver of the Raw Striker. Both get going again. 3 for the lead, and it's Paul Boyd going down the inside of Clive Hudson into the hairpin this time, but he's outbraked himself I think, gets onto the wet part of the circuit, the back steps out and he loses 2 places because of that. Through on the inside goes Clive Hudson, Matthew Booth follows him as well. Up now to Goddard hairpin, the left-hander, and this time it's Clive Hudson's turn to overcook it, and Paul Boyd as well, and now Booth takes the lead of the race. Can Booth go out in style, winning the championship with victory in the final round? Oh, another drama there for Paul Cooper. Now is it going to be terminal this time because he's well and truly stuck in the gravel, but great work by the marshals, get him released back onto the circuit again. Well, Booth has dropped back now. It's the 2 Eclipses battling over the lead once more, and now it's Boyd that goes back through, but Hudson carries more speed out of the Fogarty S's, gets alongside the fellow Eclipse driver Paul Boyd. He's on the inside line for the Melbourne hairpin. Can he get that move done? He slides a little bit on the exit of the corner. Boyd gets back through on the inside. This is brilliant racing between these 2 drivers who've been racing against each other for several years now in these cars. Boyd going back through on the inside at Goddard. Boyd trying to go all the way around the outside. It's Hudson then that just about hangs on as they're coming up to lap some traffic going into this final lap of the race. It looks like the 27 car of David Roberts in the Sienna is about to be lapped, but it's between Hudson and Boyd for the race victory, with Johnston not really having got where he needed to be up into the top 2 positions. It looks like Matthew Booth is going to be the champion this year, and very well deserved it will be too, after 3 race victories and 4 other podium finishes. Clive Hudson, he's had 2 wins this season. Paul Boyd has had just the 1. Can he add to that in the final half a lap that we have here at Donington Park? on this 2.5 mile Grand Prix layout. Up through McLean's they go, and then climbing up to the highest point of the circuit at Coppice Corner. Boyd not as close as he's been in previous laps, I don't think, but still that's only a couple of car lengths back through the second apex of Coppice, now down the exhibition straight to where there's one or two overtaking opportunities. At the end of this straight they've got the left-right flick at the Fogarty S's, and it's Hudson that prevails at the moment. Then they've got this braking area for the Melbourne hairpin, but Hudson now has about 3 or 4 car lengths as they head down towards the braking area for the final time. Is Boyd going to unleash a last lap move? He closes right up under braking, possibly hoping that Hudson there makes a mistake and finds it slipping on the exit of the corner, but it has dried out a little bit as this race has gone on, I think. Up they go then to Goddard's, the final corner of the race. Boyd getting ever closer. That back marker I think is just about going to keep out of the way, and Hudson goes through to take the win, and he wins the 13th and final race of the season in the Protec Shock Sport Specials Championship, but only by 0.3 of a second from Paul Boyd. It's an Eclipse 1-2, and there in the background is the champion. Matthew Booth comes through to take 3rd position, and that is enough to wrap up the title, because Rob Johnson in his orange Sienna could only get back to 4th, so he finishes 2nd in the championship despite having had 3 race wins this year. Confirmation of the results then. 35/100ths between Clive Hudson and Paul Boyd, but Boyd got the fastest lap of 1:44.17, which was also a lap record. Booth there in 3rd, Johnston 4th, another good drive from Stewart. Adam in the ARD, he got home in 5th position. Looking a little bit further back down the order, you can see that it was Stewart, much recovering from that first lap spin, in 11th, but just ahead of him in 9th and 10th position, the top 2 drivers in Class B, Martin Buckland and the returning champion, Colin Benham.
So down here in the pit lane then with our top 3 after that race, and the man who came through after a storming fight out front there was of course Clive Hudson. A really great job, Clive. A great way to end the season as well.
Yeah, it was a really good race that. I really enjoyed it. You know, Paul's somehow braver on the brakes even in these sort of dry line conditions. And yeah, gets up to me then, but somehow I always get the faster exit, so worked out in the end.
There was many places I was trying to get through. I'm sure you were aware of that from probably halfway through the race.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I knew he'd be there, so it's a case of being defensive and, yeah, getting him back where he got me. It was great, really enjoyed it. A
really good race to watch, well done Clive, and good luck for next season, whatever you choose to do. Let's have a quick chat as well with Paul Boyd, who came home in 2nd place. Paul, you tried your absolute best there, didn't you?
I did, that was great fun. What a great race, but it's slippy out there, so you've got to be careful.
I can imagine, I can see it's still not quite, it's dry in line, but it's wet offline, and that's where you need to be really, to make the moves.
It is, yeah, and I made a few mistakes on the wet there, so hence Clive coming back past me.
Well, no arithmetic to worry about in this race because the Tagiwa M3 Cup is a series rather than a championship, so no points on offer, but there should be some good racing in prospect in this 18-minute plus 1 lap encounter. For the final time this season, the red lights go out and away we go. And the cars head down towards Redgate Corner for the first time. It's a good start by Martin James there from the outside of the front row of the grid, but I think Adam Shepherd just sitting tight there, and he will get the lead into the first corner. Carl Shield, it is, slotting into 3rd position as they make their way through Hollywood now for the first time, and then down the Craner curves. This circuit, I think, drying out all of the time. There's some sunshine on it, that's helping. But it is a bit damp offline, as you can see. But it's Shepherd from Shield. Carl Shield up to 2nd place then as they make their way around the old hairpin for the first time. There is the number 44 car. That's being driven by Brett Evans in this race. Up to McLean's they go for the first time then. It looks like everyone has got away pretty well. 1 or 2 cars missing from the grid, I'm afraid to say. But nevertheless, we still do have, I think, 13 cars having taken the start of this race. That is the number 11 car for Nick Williamson, his first time out in the Tagiwa M3 Cup here at Donington Park. In the lead of the race, it's Adam Shepherd already starting to get away then from Carl Shield in 2nd position. And the rest of them following through as they head through the Fogarty S's and now down towards the Melbourne hairpin for the first time in this race. Let's just see if they can get through safely. Noticeably drier now this circuit than it was earlier on. Some side-by-side action, and think involving Luke Sajikowski there for about 3rd position. And that's the yellow car of John Brown making up places on the way into Goddard Hairpin that time. John Brown in car number 7, the driver from Glasgow, having a good wheel-to-wheel dice there. He is in about 6th position at the moment, just doing battle there with the number 45 car, which is Gary Hufford, a former Mazda MX-5 racer. That's Tim Gray, having a little bit of a moment on the curbs there at Redgate Corner, on the way out of Redgate Corner. So the top 2 here getting away a little bit from Martin James and Luke Sajikowski. Then it's Hufford in 5th, John Brown in 6th position. Oh, and some dramas further back, and that looks like, yes it is, the number 15 car of Jamie Ingram. He's had a spin coming out of the old hairpin. Through Coppice goes this battle for, well, what is now becoming 4th, 5th and 6th positions, because Sajikowski has gone through and Martin James now falling back into the clutches of the 2 behind him, Hufford and Brown. So these 2 having a good dice. Martin James has been out in a number of different cars this season. We've seen him win a race in Sport Specials. He's been doing the Tiguan Civics as well, as he is this weekend. So James keeping himself very busy with these multiple races at the 750 Motor Club events this season. Tiguan M3 Cup for these 3.2 litre BMW M3s. A new concept for the 750 Motor Club this season, combining GTS performance and the premium nature of the car with quite tightly controlled regulations. So it's a relatively cost-effective way of going racing, and very close racing it is too. Look at this, it's pretty much side by side, almost 3 abreast as they go into Redgate Corner this time. Martin James with his nose in front of Gary Hufford as they come out of the corner. Hufford runs wide a little bit over the curb there. That leaves the door open for John Brown. Now is John Brown brave enough to capitalise on that as they go down through the Craner curves? No, he's not. He ducks back in behind Gary Hufford now. Hufford also trying to get the place away from Martin James as well. That's 4th position. All of this outside the podium positions, but absolutely excellent racing between these 3. So James having made his escape somewhat now. It's between Hufford and John Brown then as they go down into Redgate Corner. Brown on the inside line, headlamps ablaze. He means business, doesn't he? He's trying to go through. Running wide there is Hufford, all over the dirt, and as he rejoins the circuit he spins, I'm afraid. And Hufford all of a sudden, well, he's going to lose places here, I think, isn't he? Because that looks like it's Brett Evans that's going through. Last lap board has been and gone. Adam Shepherd already heading towards the checkered flag, and he wins again. That's an 8th victory of the season for Adam Shepherd in the Tiguan M3 Cup. Well, let's have a look at those results now. Shepherd winning the race by 5.5 seconds from Carl Shield. He also set the fastest lap as well. A 1 minute 45.22 seconds is also a lap record. So Shield in 2nd, Luke Sajikowski, another podium, has often been found there this season. Martin James 4th, John Brown 5th, and Brett Evans moving up into 6th position after that misdemeanour from Gary Hufford towards the end of the race. Time now for the penultimate race this season for the Nankang MX5 Cup by 5 Club Racing. It's round number 19, and there's still 4 drivers in with a very realistic shout of taking the championship. Just 22 points separating the first 4, with 100 points available for a win in each race. Red lights go on then for the penultimate time this season. The revs rise, the lights go out, and away we go. And the best start is made by Will Blackwell Chambers from the outside of the front row of the grid. He slots ahead of Ben Short. This grid determined by 3 practice times from yesterday after the qualifying session was cancelled due to rain. Through Redgate they go for the first time, a full 42 car grid here, an absolutely magnificent sight these 1.6 litre Japanese roadsters make as they head through Hollywood and the Craner curves for the first time. We go on board with number 7, Harry Dean, who started this race in 15th position, so in the top half of the field, and he's well and truly stuck in the midst of the action there. Down through the old hairpin they go, and then it will be the climb through the left-hander at Schwantz curve up towards the right-hander at McLean's. That's the number 33 car, Paul Reed, starting at the back of the grid. He had to qualify out of session this morning. Through McLean's they go then. So far, I think it's so good for everybody. Everyone looks to have made it safely around the first half a lap or so. Back on board we go with Harry Dean. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon because he's off into the gravel trap on the exit of Coppice Corner. He manages to plough his way through there. He wasn't the only one to make that mistake by the looks of it. There was another one off in the background as well. Meanwhile, up front it's Ben Short now that has the lead of the race. And there's 2 blue cars right behind him, very similar livery, because the 43 car is Will Blackwell Chambers, but driving the 58 car is Mike Comber. Both of his team's cars, he runs MCR, Mike Comber Racing, but those cars hired out this weekend, and so he's having a go in this spare car for Will Blackwell Chambers. A bit of sideways action and biffing the barriers there, I'm afraid, is the number 34 driver, Matt Tasker, the man from Alfreton. Having a moment there for Greatrex. He spins, there's contact, Tattle is involved. So too is number 42, Sam Smith, one of 2 Sam Smiths in this race. He's gone into the barriers, and drivers there had to scatter. Sam Smith, number 31, one of the 4 championship contenders, is getting on the grass even now. And I tell you what, he's got work to do, because he started on 20th position on the grid. He's trying to scythe his way through the field, but he's left himself with a lot of work to do here at Donington this weekend. His namesake out of the car, very frustrated at getting caught up in that incident, and his race looks to be over. Well, this is another look at it really. So it was Jack Sycamore there going from the inside, possibly just tagging number 44, which is Jason Greatrex. He spun around and his cars moved either side to avoid. There was contact. The number 18 car making it safely through was Jonathan Clements. Well, it's Will Blackwell Chambers that's now asserting his authority on this race. Ben Short, Jack Sycamore and Mike Comber, who's done as much winning as anybody, or more winning than anybody so far this season, with 5 race victories. Well, the same as Will Blackwell Chambers. He's there in 4th position, but he only joined the championship late, about halfway through the season. Had he done the full year, I'm sure that Mike Comber would have been one of the 5 championship contenders coming into this weekend, as it would have been if he'd been part of it. But just 4, and 3 of them are in the first 3 places at the moment, but it's looking good here for Will Blackwell Chambers. The thing that Will has got to be careful to do is make sure he gets home, because if he has a non-finish, he'll have to count that, because drivers dropped their 2 worst scores at the end of the season. He's already had 2 zeros. We're looking at the action a little bit further back down the order at the moment. That is the pink car, the bright pink car of Sam Smith coming through the field. I think there he's passing the car of Jake Bailey, number 14, who only managed to get into the race when there was a late dropout from Brian Chandler, and so Bailey, as one of the reserves, was able to get into the race. And he's having a look back at Sam Smith now. The driver from Norfolk loses out there to the number 14, Jake Bailey, the teenager from Stratford-upon-Avon. It's Sam Tatler who's having a very good season here, that's at the head of this group of cars at the moment. That's the car of 81, I think. Is it Sebastian Fisher behind him? No, it's not there. Seb Fisher a little bit further back. I think actually it was the Clements car just behind him. He's got Leach going through in his familiar number 13 machine. Adam Bessel a bit further down the order than we normally see him as well. Big gaggles of cars all the way down the field. There's Harry Dean. He dropped back after that off at Coppice much earlier on in this race, and is trying to recover somewhat from that error. And this next group of cars has some side-by-side motoring and some sideways motoring in it as well. And 1 or 2 cars going off there, including, going for a spin, is number 130, Tim Hutchinson. So Tim Hutchinson well, just about gets back onto the circuit. Here's this battle then. Sam Tatler has now lost out to the 18 car, Jonathan Clements. But Sam Tatler actually 4th on gross points before drop scores are taken into account coming into this weekend. He's had a pretty consistent season. He's finished every race he's taken part in so far. He'll be very pleased with how it's gone, I'm sure. Jake Bailey there, just behind him in number 40. Then you've got Sam Smith, Roger Chesno, who, let's not forget, was on the podium in the opening meeting of the season at Alton Park as well. Up to the left-handed hairpin at Goddard's they go. And back on to the Wheatcroft Straight, the start and finish straight here at Donington Park. Past the grandstand, over the finish line. Start another lap. So this is the battle that's going on outside the top 4, who are much further up the road. Oh, and a spinner broadside on the circuit on the exit of Goddard's is not where you want to be if you're Stephen Craggs. He's got going again now though. Fortunately, everybody managed to avoid him. Being broadside anywhere is not where you want to be, but particularly on a blind hairpin. Seen already what can happen on the exit of that corner at the end of the first lap of the race. So Craggs continues, having had that moment, and he now outside the top 20. And Bessel going through in the bright blue car that you could see there. Courtney Milnes as well in treble 7. This battle going on between car 185, which is Gary Townsend, and the spin there, the 60 car involved, by the way, was Mark Willis, but 86 it is that spins around. That's Daniel Stewart. He's had some stronger meetings in the earlier part of the season. Still that battle going on then, involving that number 60 car. There's somebody slow up the hill, didn't quite catch who that was. Meanwhile, Will Blackwell Chambers still leading. A spin as well for number 13, which is Scott Leach, the man from Bedworth in Warwickshire. Oh, and Sam Tatler locking up there as he does battle with the 31 car of Sam Smith, who's clawing his way up the order, but I think he's probably ruling himself out of championship contention. I think that car that was going slowly was the number 18 car of Jonathan Clements, and now is looking for direction from the marshals as to where to put himself. Short and Sycamore side by side down towards the old hairpin now, with Mike Comber right in behind them as well, almost pushing Jack Sycamore, number 91, the driver from Milton Keynes, along there. Blackwell Chambers, you can see a few seconds up the road now, these three slowing one another up as they battle, but it's last year's champion Ben Short that is ahead. Last year's runner-up, Blackwell Chambers it is, that leads the race. Jack Sycamore, 4th in last year's championship, involved in this scrap as well. He's lost out now to Comber as they go through Coppice and back down the exhibition straight towards the Fogarty S's. So are we going to see a move going into the right and left-hander at the end of the straight? It's Short there with the number 1 on his car, the BS Motorsport run machine in second position, as there we see number 9, which is Ian Tomlinson, but we also see that it's spinning number 40 car of Ben Hansey, the company director from Northampton. I don't think he'll have lost too many places. There was a bit of a gap there. This is the onboard view from Ben Hansey. It goes round as a full 360, so at least he's pointing in the right direction. He loses, I think, about 3 places. Still, you've got Mike Comber in the middle of this sandwich, 2nd and 4th, the 2 white cars. It's the AB Motorsport car of Jack Sycamore at the rear of that group, and there's some contact and there's some rubbing, and off into the gravel goes Ben Short. Short through the gravel. Now where's Comber gone? Well, he's continuing, but he's dropped back behind Jack Sycamore, but Ben Short now has some rally crossing to do to get back onto the circuit. He's trying to make his way back onto the track, but you can see how big the gap was behind him. I think he's still going to come onto the track probably in about 4th position. No, he's going to fall just into the group behind, I think. There's Sycamore then, and there is Mike Comber. So this is now the well, I say fight for second and third, but there's actually quite a few car lengths between them. Blackwell Chambers it is that still leads the way. Now, will we see the next group of cars? And where is Ben Short in all of this? Well, he's not near the front, that's for certain, because you've got Jake Bailey and Sam Smith absolutely side by side for fourth position. And it's Smith that goes through on the inside. Sam Tatler goes extremely wide. And there at the rear of the group, the white number 1 car, Ben Short. So he is at the back of that group, about 7 cars ahead of him then. Last lap gets underway, so Short's got some work to do to try and find his way back towards the stop. Oh, and pulling off is Jack Sycamore from third position. Conrad got back through, but a problem, it looks like a suspension failure that puts Jack Sycamore out of the race, and that may well be the end of his championship hopes. Here's this fight going on. This now is for third position, and it's Jake Bailey that is in the ascendancy at the moment, but Sam Smith tries to get back alongside him now, but Bailey holds on. A great drive this from the teenager. Sam Smith a little bit more experienced in Mazda MX-5 racing, although it's his first full season in the Nankang MX-5 Cup by 5 Club Racing. Fifth position is Seb Fisher, and sixth place at the moment is Roger Chesno in the 105 car. But I don't think this race is over yet. Through Schwantz Curve now, up to McLean's they come. Smith, he wants to get as high up the order as he possibly can to just stay in contention for the championship going into the final round, although that's looking ever more unlikely now. He's lost out there though to Jake Bailey, was close to losing out to Seb Fisher and Roger Chesno as well. Through Coppice and onto the exhibition straight for the final time. Jake Bailey may well have done enough here, I reckon, but they're ganging up on Sam Smith. It's Sebastian Fisher trying to get alongside him for fifth position, and look who's just behind Chesno. It's that man Ben Short as well on the fight back. He gets alongside Chesno now, so that would be for about sixth positions, I think, as up to the line comes Will Blackwell Chambers to take the checkered flag. It's his sixth victory of the season, and how important could that be in the context of this championship? Who's going to be third though? I think it's going to be Jake Bailey. It's tied for fourth. Sam Smith third at the moment, and look, Ben Short's made his way up into fifth position. Is it going to stay that way? I think it will. Seb Fisher through on the inside there of Chesno. Up to the line they come, and Bailey gets third. A great drive from him. His maiden podium in the MX-5 Cup. Well, what a race that was, and a great drive from Will Blackwell Chambers, doing what he needed to do, taking a comfortable win in the end by 8 seconds. Mike Comber second, Jake Bailey third, Sam Smith fourth, and Ben Short after that off, getting back up into the top 5 ahead of Sebastian Fisher. Well, outside the top 10, the 11th place car was Matthew Short ahead of Courtney Milnes. Then it was Ali Bray racing, rather than team managing this time, in 13th position. Ben Hansen recovered from his spin to 14th position.
Will, you've done first part of the job, you needed to win, and that's what you've exactly done.
Yeah, amazing race. Car's absolutely brilliant. Thanks to Mike Comber Racing for giving us a hand with it. No, it was an immense race, didn't expect that. Brilliant racing for the first lap between me and Ben. Really, really clean, really, really tidy, and then, yeah, just managed to stretch the gap a bit.
Yeah, apart from the first couple of laps, you got your head down and pulled out that nice gap.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time looking in the mirrors and gauging how much. I think I'm a bit slow through the hairpins, but I think over a lap I've got it. I managed to forget the card in my data logger, so I had no idea actually what lap times I was doing, which made it quite difficult, but no, happy with that, really happy with that result.
I have to say, there was lots going on behind which you stayed out of, but as I said, you need to kind of keep yourself out front, because to do the championship, you need to win pretty much both races.
With the points we've got, I don't actually need to win, I don't believe. We've got a little bit of a buffer. The most important thing, and you've seen the demolition derby that's going on there, is keeping out of that. So we'll see how the next race goes, but I just want to keep clean.
Great stuff. Well done, Will. Good luck for race number 2 as well. Let's have a chat with our second place man, which is Mike Comber. Mike, if you would like to make your way over to us, and we'll have a chat with you. A really frantic race, to be fair. What happened from your point of view?
Yeah, it's a good race. I was sort of just sitting there and watching most of it, just waiting for the mistakes, and Jack made the first one, which sort of handed me third place, and then yeah, Ben was just, I think he was just lacking a bit of speed and trying to cover his second place, and I think both me and Jack were stronger drivers. Went for a bit of a move just coming onto the Dunlop straight, and yeah, just had a bit of a coming together. Until I see the footage, I don't know what went on. It happened so quick. But yeah, unfortunately, I sort of managed to sort of hold in there, but lose out to Jack, and don't know what happened to Jack in the end. But yeah, it was a good fun race up until that point. I enjoyed it. Try and keep it as clean as you try to, but yeah, it's one of them, unfortunately.
You're a youngster, we've been told. You're 16 years old, 16. On the podium. Well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it wasn't easy, but enjoyed it. Yeah, loved it.
Had to work hard, I have to say, because you had everyone trying to gang up on you.
Yeah, it was good. Thanks to Pete at the Motorsport School. He's been coaching me all the way through the year, and he's been really influential on my results.
And Donington Park is not the easiest of circuits. Lots going on out there.
No, but it is my favourite, so good on to win at, well, third, sorry.